Hi Cancer, this is your reading for December 2018. Thank you for joining. Please set aside anything that you're doing so that you're not multitasking and all your attention is here with me for the reading. Take a couple of deep, slow breaths. As you exhale, release any tension or anxiety that you might be feeling and come into a calm, centered place within. While I'm shuffling, take a moment to check in with your higher self and your guides. Ask them to reach out to me, to my higher self and my guides, so that we can create a feedback loop to get really clear and relevant messages that are really tailored especially for you. Wow, some very interesting cards here in your spread, Cancer, and in some interesting combinations too. So, what we have here, what it looks like is that from some of you, maybe quite a few of you, you might be dealing with an ending of a relationship right now. You've got here at the foundation the World card, which kind of represents the end of a cycle. And then in the card in the crowning position, you have this Ten of Swords. So it does look like for some of you there is some type of completion going on here. But at the same time you have all these, there's a lot of cards here speaking specifically about romantic relationships. You have the Lovers, you have the Two of Cups and the Ten of Cups. So these cards, the Two of Cups and the Ten of Cups, are in the outcome position. This Lover's card here is paired with the Magician in reverse in the position of you, your current energy. And then at the center of the reading you have the Seven of Pentacles reversed, crossed by the King of Wands. So, interesting cards. And also in this position, this is the energy around you or in your environment. You have this Three of Swords reversed with the Fool. So again, like a lot of cards that are sort of indicating that there's some completions, but following directly after is this feeling of a new beginning. It's almost like something's ending and a new relationship may be starting right away. And these cards here, this position of your environment or energy around you, I feel like this Three of Swords here in reverse with the Fool is saying that you may have some ending going on, right? You may have this like completion with the World card, with the Ten of Swords card, but it's not a feeling. Even though this card looks rather gruesome and painful and disturbing, it actually feels to me like the energy here is it's a relief. There's a feeling here of like, oh, that finally the difficulty is over or the pain is over. You know, like with this Three of Swords in reverse here with the Fool card, I feel as though the energy here is one of, it's forgiveness and release and relief and I don't feel like there's pain here. Even though, as I said, there's that Ten of Swords crowning the reading and this Three of Swords here. It's much more a feeling of joyfulness, of something, like a relief of something finally being over, or a difficult stage being over. And the ability to finally move into a space of connectivity and joyfulness and belonging and togetherness. That's what I'm getting here with this Ten of Cups and the Two of Cups and the Ten of Cups together. This is in the position of your outcome. Now you have 3 tens in the reading. So again, like really clear indicators that something has ended. I just want to show you those so you can see. So the Ten of Swords as the crowning card. And then you have the Ten of Cups in the position of the outcome. And this card is also, this Ten of Pentacles in reverse is also kind of a card that isn't, this position here is like the outcome or the potential or the possible future. Because this axis here running in this direction this is where where you're coming into the reading from, and kind of where you can go on the other side of that. So I want to talk about this central axis here, past to present. So 3 of Cups, 7 of Pentacles reversed, 10 of Pentacles reversed, crossed by the King of Wands. So again, okay, so you have two threes in the reading here as well. So for some of you, I feel that what this is perhaps, if there has been, if you are in a dynamic with someone, or you have been in a dynamic with someone, what I feel is that 1 or 2 of you have been in extramarital affairs, and it feels like finally you're able to be with the person that you really want to be with. And there's a feeling of an ending, a release of a difficulty, a release of a person. Perhaps the King of Rods here, the King of Wands as the crossing card, represents a person. And it doesn't matter about gender, it's either or for whoever this reading is for. And having again this 10 of Pentacles in reverse, like both of these 2 Pentacle cards here reversed does feel to me like there is a release or a letting go of something physical. Can be the relationship itself. It can be that you move out of the family home, or that you move out of your home. You move location to be with the person that you really want to be with. And again, a closure or a completion of an end of a cycle, and a fresh start of a new beginning with something that feels very aligned, very harmonious, very joyful, very connected, as I said, a feeling of togetherness, a feeling of belonging, a feeling of finally we are in the place we want to be together with each other. Now, yeah, Lovers here with the Magician reversed. As I said, I kind of feel like this is connected to what I was describing earlier, where I was feeling like there have been, either on one or both sides of the relationship that you were perhaps in, there could have been extramarital affairs. And I feel like for a large portion of whoever this reading is for, whoever's watching this and is relating to what I'm talking about, it does feel like there's an end to the secrecy, there's an end to somehow the information is now all clearly out on the table. That's what I feel this Magician is here with the Lovers. I feel like finally everything has been revealed, everything's out on the table, and there's this feeling of like an end to secrecy, an end to hiding, an end to dishonesty, an end to pain, or a feeling of like, yeah, secrecy and hiding. And now everything's kind of clear and upfront and out in the open, and everyone's kind of getting past this stage of pain and are actually in a stage of joy where you're actually with the people that you want to be with. It's quite a beautiful reading. Although I imagine that for a lot of you coming into this month, maybe for some of the months of this year, there has been a lot of kind of difficulty with secrecy and with, dishonesty and a lot of pain around that. So this feeling of that being over finally is it's very evident in the reading with all these ending cards, all these 10s, in particular this 10 of Swords, that's the crowning card. But as I said, even though it's a gruesome looking card, it does feel to me like it's actually a relief that finally the difficult part is over, and now everyone is kind of able to kind of move forward in their lives with the people they want to be with, in the direction they want to go, with a sense of everything being out in the open now, no more hiding, no more secrets, and being just in the space that you want to be in with the loved ones that you are surrounding yourself with. And it's a very joyful feeling, very connected, very happy. Even though there is, of course, there's still going to be some healing to do around what has passed. But that doesn't have to take a long time. It depends on everyone's ability to just kind of process things quickly. I feel like perhaps, as I said, like if there have been secrets and things being hidden, obviously there wasn't necessarily a lot of clear and upfront communication. I feel like in order for this to be resolved and cleared as efficiently and as can be, it's up to all the parties to just be really clear in their communication with each other. I haven't spoken about this position here, the hopes and fears quadrant. You have the Hierophant with the Knight of Wands in reverse. What do I say here? I mean, it does, this kind of, I feel like this is connected somehow to the secrets of the past and how things are kind of out in the open now, and there's this feeling of like, no more shame, no more hiding, no more kind of standing behind the face of like what is perceived to be the correct action and right action. And now there's this feeling of like just being in your own power, in your own authority, in your own clarity of, you know, your what's real for you and what you want out of your life and who you want that life to be built with. Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck. 5 of Wands reversed, Page of Pentacles, the Empress, and the 7 of Cups. So I feel like this 5 of Wands here could indicate that a time of conflict is actually ended. You know, if there has been, like, again, if this is related to having secrets having been held for some time and like keeping things quiet and being, you know, secretive and things being hidden, I feel like this 5 of Wands reverse is actually indicating a clarity around communication and an end to conflict, or an end to communication that is difficult because it's not clear. So there's more clarity in communication. And energetically a fresh beginning with the Page of Pentacles and the Empress here both upright. I feel that this is indicating that there is, for all parties involved, a fresh beginning, a sense of hopefulness, a feeling of enthusiasm for like for life and for fertility. For some of you, you might actually, you know, be considering starting a family, or you might actually be pregnant. That could be for a small percentage of people watching. And then the 7 of Cups here, as the final card here from these extended cards, I feel that for some of you, this whole process has generated a kind of internal process of really digging deep and looking at what's there, like who you are, what you want to express. And for some of you, that this could be a time of kind of coming out of some delusion or some confusion or lack of clarity and feeling a bit more clear finally after being kind of in a sort of unclear, undefined space for a long time, where things have been, you've kind of felt like you've been having to hide or kind of keep a lot of things secretive. Just checking if there's anything else here. I feel like that might be it for your general reading, Cancer. Not an easy time, but definitely, like I said, it's a sense of relief here, of sort of like challenging period of like pressure and tension and hidden things and secrets being finally over now, and things being more out in the open and clear, and a closing out of a cycle. Still, obviously, there's still this energy here around some kind of closure in the physical realm. Maybe that's about you know the actual like property and possessions and things that need to be, you know, assigned to the separation, right? Like, if there is a separation happening, there is some, you know, decisions to be made in the physical realm about property and certain assets and you know, physical things that need to be kind of taken care of. And yeah. Hopefully everyone feels like everyone in the situation is getting what they want finally, and things are all out in the open and everything's clear. Let's see what's here. The Hermit reversed. Yeah, I feel like that's it for your general reading, Cancer. Pretty succinct. I hope that makes sense for you. I'm going to take the Voyager deck now and do your higher octave reading. The higher octave reading is going to give us a little bit more insight onto what's happening on the karmic, spiritual level and an emotional level. Help us to understand what lessons we're going through, and what we can learn, how we can be graceful through the lessons, and how we can best step through to make the most of the opportunities that are available through the challenges that we're facing. So while I'm shuffling, please take a moment to, again, rest into a quiet, comfortable space. Focus on your breath. Come into a calm center and blast your energy over into the deck so that I can get really clear messages for you. bottom of the deck you have the card called Universe in this deck, which relates to the World card, which is the same card that you had at the foundation of the previous reading, the general reading here. So, Six of Cups reversed, crossed by the Eight of Cups. Nine of Crystals, Ten of Wands, Time Space, Woman of Cups, Temperance reversed, Two of Crystals, Star, Nine of Cups, Three of Cups, beautiful, Seven of Crystals, Three of Wands, and Ten of Cups. I like this reading. Again, it's a little bit of a mixed bag, like with the previous reading. There's like cards that look really intense, but there's also like very joyful and very uplifted cards that speak about fulfillment and passion and happiness and love. A lot of love being shared. There's a lot of Cups card here. On this side of the reading, there's Three of Cups, Nine of Cups, Woman of Cups, and Ten of Cups, all upright, all very positive cards speaking about love and compassion and passion and fulfillment and happiness and unconditional like feeling of connected and joy, right? And then on this half of the reading, there's a kind of a mixed bag of cards where you have like, you know, some energy that's kind of describing stagnancy or lack of clarity or uncertainty in some ways. But okay, we'll get into it. So this central axis of the reading, going from the subconscious to the conscious mind, this is what you don't know. This is what you know. And in the center of the reading is the heart of the matter. So you have Six of Cups crossed by the Eight of Cups. At the foundation is the Ten of Wands, and the crowning card is the Nine of Crystals. So what this is saying to me is that you are actually right now in a stage of like an accelerated growth path where it is that you're kind of like reaching for an exponentiated expansion in your spirit and your energy. And that reaching forward is kind of, you know, whenever we kind of go on growth spurts, there's always an area where there's some discomfort because you're kind of like moving into new territory and into a different vibration. But you're kind of spurred on to do that. You know you need to, because where you are is kind of starting to feel stagnant, and you've been there long enough to know that you've already attained a certain level of mastery in that specific vibration. So it's time to move on. And sometimes our you know urge to move on, to grow, to expand and change comes sometimes out of a space of feeling sometimes depressed or sad or lonely. Sometimes we need that kind of, or not that we need, but sometimes our spirit is more motivated to push onwards and drive onwards, or is kind of driven forward and change because there are these feelings and things that need to be addressed. So what I'm seeing here is that your enthusiasm for growth, or your personal will to kind of grow into a larger kind of more expanded sense of yourself, is coming from a place of wanting to overcome some stagnation in your life, perhaps in your relationships or in your interactions with others, the way you relate to others. But more it's about your personal connection with yourself. And I feel like there's some feelings of sadness and grief that you're processing at the moment, but in a way that is actually really focused and dedicated to your growth path, and in a way that's kind of like you're very dedicated to kind of coming into a clarity of yourself, of your sense of well-being, coming from a place of like self-love and self-worth. And you've got this feeling, there's an energy around like dedication to your path. Nine of Crystals and the Nine of Cups, both, I mean the nines are that feeling of like completion and wholeness. They relate to the Hermit from the Major Arcana. So I'm seeing this in a very positive way of you kind of being like having been very focused and dedicated to, you know, some growth in the sense of self-learning and self-understanding, like what your needs are and how to best express and how to get the most out of your experience and really like fully express yourself, and in doing so come into a greater space of joy. And perhaps some of that again is coming from like feeling a bit stagnant, feeling a bit bored or dull, or a little bit, you know, like uninspired in what the places that you may have been in your psyche and in your emotions in some of the months of this year. And coming into a space where, you know, you're kind of letting the challenging feelings be like signposts for you to kind of make decisions and shift things around in your life to actually grow into places where you are really, you know, fighting for your own life, fighting for your own happiness, like being motivated to actually drive yourself forward into the places where you actually really are feeling good and make changes, make decisions that may be difficult but that are necessary to kind of bring you into a greater space of joy and happiness, because you know you're not willing to just settle for what you're in or what you're doing, because you've done it already and you need to grow, you need to move forward, you need to push for a bigger experience for yourself. And yeah, here we have the Temperance card in reverse with the Ten of Cups. And here is a Two of Crystals reversed with the Three of Wands. So again, I kind of already just spoke about all these things as far as like your sense of well-being, having to move on, maybe dealing with some grief or sadness, but making decisions with clarity, with a lot of focus to kind of precisely kind of move your life forward in ways that are more expansive and more fulfilling for you on a deep level. As I mentioned when I was shuffling and putting the cards down, you have this this card here in the position coming into the reading called Time Space, which relates to judgment. And then at the foundation you have the World card here in the previous reading, which is the Universe card, which you have at the bottom of the deck. So again, a lot of cards here indicating like closing out cycles, completing things, coming to like a rebirth space, and moving more into an area of like, because you have the Star here, I feel like you're moving more in the direction of like things that really make you feel switched on. I mean, the first reading was a lot about relationships, but I feel like this reading is speaking much more about what's happening for you on a personal, internal level, like your karma, your energy, your decisions that you're making about the path of your life. It has a lot more to do with personal fulfillment and satisfaction and feeling like you're actually in alignment with the truth of who you are and the direction that you want to go based on your soul's purpose. This has been coming up for almost all the signs in the readings for December, and I feel like this month, obviously we're closing out a big year of a lot of very challenging times for a lot of people. And I feel like for many of us, we're coming through this year with a sense of pride and in fulfillment of having like really risen up to the challenges that we face, and really kind of dug deep and got into some places within us that were quite dark and soupy and challenging, but we're rising up to meet those challenges and releasing a lot of past energies of old behaviors, of old ways of thinking, old modes, moving into a new paradigm now with a much greater sense of love and joy and openness, compassion, moving in a direction that feels much more in alignment with the places that we're changing in our kind of karmic archetypes, moving into new cycles and moving into spaces where we're feeling a little bit more like in alignment with the way that we want to really express ourselves through life. And sometimes that does mean moving on from certain people, from certain relationships, friendships, partnerships, work environments, and in order to kind of shift our vibration into one that's much more suited to the person that we're becoming by way of what we're letting go of. The bottom of the deck, right? Universe, Seven of Cups, Sage of Crystals, and Four of Crystals. And there's the moon there. So yeah, overcoming fears, overcoming stagnancy, overcoming or facing fears. Not like overcoming them or not being afraid, but like letting the things that come up. You have Seven of Crystals and Seven of Cups here. It's this feeling of digging deep into the psyche, triggered by experiences of difficulty or emotional states that are uncomfortable, and using those spaces to really kind of uncover the truth of what's there in order to find places where there's unconscious patterning and conditioning that is driving things, and being much more deliberate and much more empowered in addressing certain behaviors and patterns and conditioning, and freeing ourselves up from that by releasing it, by shining a light on it, by being aware and conscious enough to say, I understand where that idea came from and where those behaviors are triggered from, but I'm here now and I don't need to keep acting out those things in an unconscious way, and I'm going to free myself up from that kind of behavior or that kind of attitude and shine a light into the unconscious mind, the moon, to bring in more knowing and understanding in a way that kind of makes you feel a little bit more connected and helps you, again, this World card here, close out a cycle, put some things to rest and wish those things well and send them back to where they came from, and just be able to kind of start a new cycle with a fresh energy, with more awareness, with more gratitude, with more patience, with more love, and more knowing and understanding. So yeah, this Four of Crystals here is kind of feeling like you're establishing a new foundation for yourself with a different state of mind, with new attitudes, with new ideas, with fresh understanding based on how much work you've done in the last year and where you've come out, where you've popped out of like old stagnant energy, and releasing yourself from, you know, ideas that at one point were supportive and helpful and made sense and served you, but now are kind of like outdated and need to be shifted and released. So yeah. I think that's your reading, Cancer, for December. There's the Hierophant again. You had it in the previous reading in upright position with the hopes and fears. So I feel for some of you, coming into a state now, perhaps this next cycle that you're moving into is one where you're a little bit more dedicated to a specific path. You're getting more clear and a little bit more serious about what you want to do. Some of you may actually be undertaking studies to kind of further your life, whether that's personal or professional. But I feel like you're coming into more clarity into who you are, and coming into greater focus of how you want to channel your energy moving forward from here. And releasing people from your environment that have been around that maybe, as we said in the last reading, are not actually matching the vibration that you're embodying now. And so kind of creating a new circle, or having different people around you that are a little bit more suited. Maybe you're developing new social circles that may be a little bit more in alignment with the things you want to experience and the type of influence you want to have around you. Okay, Cancer, I feel like that's it for your reading. I hope you found that clarifying. Don't forget to watch any of the other readings that jump out at you. Go ahead and click on them, regardless of your chart, your sun or moon or ascendant. Just watch whatever you feel to watch. There's information there that I'm sure you'll find helpful. It's all very good, timeless life guidance. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your time. It's an honor and a pleasure to read for you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading.